Perhaps I'll start with the introductory screensaver, which, in the classic spirit of the DMC series, looks pretentious and very stylish. And the catchphrase Devil May Cry in cheek as always and is no way inferior its predecessor. The game begins with a fragment of William Baker's verse, minus the scene for the fact that after completing the game and reading this verse again, you will find many analogies with the current plot of yourself. So what did Elon Musk forget in this game? I will put a scene for what this idiot carried on Twitter about our country, and I wanted to shit that this is nothing to do with the game. A huge tree has grown in the middle of the city and people are standing staring and even stretching their hands. But not to the sun, oh. Didn't everything that happened before with other cities teach them anything? How he turned into him. But I'll probably remove the scene because in this case the character turned out to be colorful and his voice acting brings some charms and dialogues.
We've known each other a long time. You never had this much trouble. You gonna make it through this, Dante?
Agent Morrison, you should know better than anyone in the Danteverse through. And even though you knew who the real villain of the game was from the very beginning, even him Dante won more than once and since then he became even stronger. The new design of Dante, no matter how fans of the third and fourth part whine, looks very cool. A stylish, unshaven alcoholic who is shaved can turn to be a pretty attractive sex machine. I'll put a scene for the fact that the same Dante from the anime, which for a moment is canonical, based on the interior reading of the past, defeated the stronger demons without using the devil trigger. Here he cannot force some demon with sucker to rise from their own, which so far is clearly inferior to those who had to deal with earlier. And yes, I don't care that he is stuck at a tree and Yamato's fort is some kind of crystal flies in front of him. This does not negate everything that was said earlier, but only further introduction and embrace of power. I have no complaints about Nera's design, except that his real facial model only resembles from him afar. I'll remove the minus for the fact that it's even good, because if Nera walked with such a face, I would not be able to complain my laughter from the first seconds. Entering the scene is Insider Godfather straight from a 2000 called V. We all know who he is, but for the fans of the original series, who are used to pretentious men with swords and pistols, a skinny gunner with a cane looks a little ridiculous. Sin does not pull on a minus on his sandals is a top. In terms of control, this is the same Devil May Cry we all love, with its movements, combos and generally pathetic combats. What cannot be said about the locations? Starting to play the game for the first time, we all anticipated the variety of locations that the half of the game was really like. But what we'll see at the very beginning will fucking haunt us from the second half to the very end. At the time of the release of the first trailer for the game at E3 2019, the developer stated that the game was about 70% ready, also less than a year remained before the release. Now it's clear why the remaining 30% of our heroes had to wander in monotonous, mysterious locations. For the first time I played the game on the Xbox, and playing on the gamepad was a pleasure, but the way they ported the controls onto PC is complete bullshit. And don't dare to convince me, having played to the gamepad once, you will never be able to adequately perceive the controls of keyboard and such games. Fans of the third Witcher who played on the console understand what I mean. Dante lost to a demon sitting on a thrown toilet. And this is not even the final phase of the villain, he just fucking sit on a chair and the maximum that perps is pseudo-pathetic quotes.
Hey, jackass! Did your mother ever teach you it's not nice to steal?
Minus the scene for the classic Devil May Cry dialogues that I missed for so long.
Sorry, Dante. I'm back in this bitch.
In front of you lies a defeated Dante, Trish and Lady, who are almost the strongest demon hunters in the world, and you seriously believe that you have a chance against the Hermoid demon and even when you don't have a right hand. The boss fight is extremely dull because already from the first enemy moves, if settings and stool can be called a moveset, we understand that with our skills we won't be able to defeat him in any way. Losing by script cliché.
Round 2.
That is, it wasn't until the second round, when all your allies are shouted, that you decided to use Devil Trigger.
Hey, get her out of here! This is a bad move! I can still fight! Go! You're just dead weight!
Named Dara Dead Weight gave rise at local meme, and in the future we will hear this phrase more than once.
Stop hitting yourself and think of ways to get stronger and actually help.
We turn out to be only same person among all, and knowing who he really is, it is no wonder why that is. However, even with the hand postless that Nero will use the future, spoiler, we won't stand a chance. And all why? Because I don't give a fuck how the developers managed to buff Urizen so much. His telekinesis stopped Dante's attacking demon from and shuttled in sword Rabel with a punch of a hand, which survived attacks more than this. Even in his real form, Urizen showed less than very beginning of the game. These idiots are still standing and looking at the huge gone tree, even at the moment when other residents die before his eyes. It seems that in this world it is not seen to suffer from mental retardation, but in our section, yes.
So, tell me,
Tell you what,
how does it feel to be rescuing the guy that killed your father?
Nero asks Nico about the killer of her father, and only after looking in the additional materials of the game we are revealed that she is daughter of Argus from the first part. Why can't this be said in the game? At least is 2 words. One of the best opening scenes in gaming history. This is not the first year. In different parts of the world, towers in Mother appeared, then huge colossi saviors, then demons of skyscrapers. No, the military never learned how to effectively fight against the demons. There is no other way to comment on how easily some ordinary demons easily destroyed a professional military detachment armed with modern weapons. And this we do not take into account the lady, who also fight with firearms, albeit slightly pervert. How to make it interesting to play for a Carter from the last part. Let's rid of demonic arm and give him a prosthetic leg instead. Voila, the new gameplay is ready. Did you think that I would put a scene? No. The move is really interesting, but no less interesting how the hell a half-dead bum in Rex could tear the Nero's demonic arm so easily. Now there is some kind of trend to underestimate the abilities of characters received in the past. Your hand stone with the enemy appeared in front of you and you still allowed yourself, it's so easy to lose your guard. And I'm no fire because they never showed us Kyrie. One gets the feeling that the developers simply did not find a beautiful enough model for the character and decided to leave it only as a voiceover. Morrison leaves us note where he tells us a little about Dante's past. He says that Dante took the pseudonym of Tony Redgrave, and Nero is just now in the city with that name. Coincidence or not, indicated in the letter. But how long have Dante and Morrison know each other? If we take the events of anime, and they are probably even more familiar, then this is about more than 10 years. Haven't you learned more about him in such a long time than just a pseudonym?
hey, I got a new arm for ya.
Once again, the Japanese are genius. To work Nico so skillfully so that instead of buying prosthetics, I could not take my eyes off the tummy. I still need to try. This look of Nero is a sight of demons screams how you all fucked me up. A unique feature of Devil May Cry 5 is the musical score, which becomes more dynamic as combos and style point increase. When you get to S, you start to turn into some kind of wild animal that want to annihilate those demons even more beautifully, so that the musician will play even stronger.
Somebody call a doctor?
Your blood is a very precious sacrifice. Eating you would do me no good.
The demon says that it makes no sense to kill him since his hood is vulnerable sacrifice, but a couple of minutes ago he threw a one at Nero without even asking who he was. I wish I could put a scene for a Nero just standing there and watching Goliath prepare for attack on him. But then I abruptly remember that the hallmark of Sandra blood carries is trolling, and Nero is no exception.
Cool trick! Hey, do you do parties? So, you think Dante's still in there?
If Urizen defeated him, then I expect he's not much more than Clyphod pollen by now.
Indeed, you have been gone for about 1 month since the movement of you lost Dante. In a normal situation, he would have died a long time ago, or at least been captured, but no, later Dante lies as if nothing had happened, with a slightly grown beard. And what about your face?
Did you just sniff that? Do you have any idea where that's been?
Up your butt?
Nika is not descendant of Sparta, but trolls know worse than the main characters.
What? No chit-chat or monologue? Just getting right to the point, huh?
The game trolled itself. Usually, after all, before each boss fight we have dialogues, but here it is silent and no point. Also, I will put a scene for the fact that I still cannot understand the level of strength of Nero, who either jumps a few meters and dodges light rays, or flies off from half-dead tramps.
What?
Can't believe you do this to Kyrie. I'm gonna have to tell her, man.
Kyrie would kill me right now.
This is the same Crane who is the previous part was living making in shower nothing but the smile of surprises. What happened to her in those few years that you suddenly become so afraid of her? And so we are given the opportunity to play as V. The first time I played, the gameplay seemed interesting to me, but in the future, when every time we had to return in the story campaign, it got to the point where I just randomly pressed the buttons on the gamepad, hoping to defeat the opponents as quickly as possible and finish the chapter.
Are the sea to a fish? So is contempt to the contemptible.
Given V's true nature, it is no surprise that he should also be good at trolling. In this situation, he trolls with the help of poems of the same William Blake that he talked about at the very beginning. Oh yes, I forgot to say, but this roster is based off Griffin from the first part. I understand why this design was changed, but still sad.
Search for the devil's sword, Sparta.
The chicken body woman orders the High Knight to find Sparta's sword, as there is still one more Sparta's hair left, and only by destroying the sword Urizen can become a real monster. This is the same sword that was useless in the hand of son of Sparta, who is in the demonic form. Urizen literally without getting up from the toilet defeated everyone who could somehow harm him.
Well, she ain't dead. Got a pretty smoking body, though. Come on, get up, get up, get up!
Got something to wear that's good for digging?
Fucking beams of light. It was speed from Capcom. From someone, but from the Japanese I did not expect. You should be the last line of defense in a fight against the SJV dump. No.
Nice. Getting the band back together, huh?
What evil lurks? I must destroy.
I thought that was the plan all along.
Among the youth they call cringy. When one once again started caustic but very successfully joke, the second stifle even without the poems trying to speak with a drop of drama, straight like his real self.
Where's Dante? No body? No dried up Dante jerky? Nothing?
Where is Dante? Is this how they react to the potential death of close friend? Even though you still don't know who he is to you, and at the end of the first part you became quite close. And do you really believe in your chances against the toilet demon even with your super trendy prosthetics when even Dante in demon form didn't succeed? Getting here you were able to understand even the power of your prosthetics and that they are only good for sub-bosses, but not against the hemorrhoidal Satan.
Time I landed something.
And of course he didn't fucking beat him. If at the beginning of the battle he was ready to carve his name on the tombstone, that in the end he wanted at least to hurt him. It was enough to slightly scratch Urizen's hand for him to get up from his super comfortable chair. And this was enough for Urizen to lose his endless source of blood, which he fed through those suckers. After the appearance of a mysterious demon, we are returned to a few weeks in advance. Dante as usual without money, and judging by the actions of Morrison, it does not smell the best here.
Lady Patty's feathers are all ruffled.
Morrison mentions Lady Pity, thus we are once again told a direct language that the anime in cartoon. If you haven't watched it, I recommend it. And right at that moment, when you came to him and started dialogue, right now the light should have turned on.
Devil may cry.
Dante!
And how many times did Pretty call if the bell ring immediately after switching on? Her affection is different from the characters on the anime girl.
Oh my god, tonight's my birthday party. Yeah, I'm turning 18.
Okay, I'm taking the scene back. This girl is 18 today and she is clearly hitting the Dante's action on an already legal nature. And never was to tell her that 10 years I would go on a date with her. When V comes face to face to Dante, one cannot remember the official manga that came out after the game, which tells about the adventures of V. There this expansion scene and Dante reaction to his brother names make me remove scene. You fight the demons, teleport to them, pierce them with your cane, but you couldn't just leave Sparda's sword above your waist.
It seems this sword is still too strong for me.
V has repeatedly said that he still lacks the strength to do this, but in the future he will only get worse and he is not like a sword. He won't even be able to warn normally. In this position Dante lay for a whole month, and his shoulders were just a little stiff. And of course he woke up only when a sword was painted at him. That is, all these dancing demons and the roots of Clipot could not wake him up? Even taking into account the fact that the sword of Sparda already protect him, it is only unclear now.
V? No. Get a grip on yourself now, come on.
The Cocorals tells V not to do it, but other than to stand aside and do nothing, he can't.
If only you never existed.
And isn't V too hot saying something like, if you hadn't been born, would you everything be fine? As if there is still half the game ahead and I would like more intrigue. We are shown a flashback where Eva, the mother of Dante and Virgil, hides the first one and she herself goes to save his brother. The scene is staged well, but what's up with her face? Even the real actress looks more beautiful. What can we say about her images from the first and fourth parts?
You're right. I'll leave the rest to you.
What?
You've been here for 10 years to say at least the moment you're right I'm leaving. Even your Cocorel was in shock, and by the way, he is the most peasant creature in the game. Finally allowed to play for Dante. If you didn't play the piano at school, it will be quite difficult for you to master what we have to do the first time. On the one hand we have a sword and other melee or range weapons, and on the other firearms. Does it seem to be everything? And now. We have 4 more styles here, and the techniques for each crop are different for each style. If you play it on PC, you should understand how much of a pain it is to switch all of this on keyboard. But I will remove the scene because the game for Dante in this part is the best that Capcom could do.
Jackpot.
Dante.
How to aggro a powerful demon with one word. Just say jackpot. Even Urizen gets irritated, let alone real.
Was completely useless.
Once again Nero was lowered, forgetting the fact that it was Dante who couldn't defeat Urizen using Devil Trigger and Sparda's sword. Throughout history Dante Rebel has been through everything, but some kind of fish push could break his pecs. And why just picking up the sword of Sparda suddenly stood up and your regeneration accelerated? You could do it without it, what the fuck? While we began to gradually crumble from Thanos' crack, we together with Dante defeat Cavalier Agello and loot a naked clone of our mother and new weapon, a super demon motorcycle of the MT brand. Devil May Cry creative weapon design deserves one scene removed. But wouldn't it be better to find a less cool place to put it and not stupidly on a payment?
Urizen is not a demon. I know that for a fact because I'm from the underworld.
Trish says Urizen isn't a demon, but he certainly doesn't look like average factory man. And what if you didn't see him in hell? What was the last time you were there? How do you know? Maybe while you're gone there is already a new Mundus or someone stronger like Urizen.
But he couldn't die yet. The man had a job that must be done. To defeat his twin brother.
Capcom devolved Virgil's motivation so much that they made him a main caravan for life defeating Dante. I do not argue that this is one of the goals, but Virgil always stopped for strength and power, because he could not protect his mother from an attack of demons. But the devs are like, I'll definitely survive until I blow my brother's fuck.
I'm not your mommy, V.
It's funny, an identical clone of Eve, the mother of Dante and Virgil, tells the human essence of the letter that she is not his mother.
If Yamato can separate man from devil,
How do you know that Yamato can separate a human from demon if we only told Trish about it? Or am I missing something from previous parts, manga and novels? Write in the comments, because I only know that Yamato in his fragments can open goats leaping to hell. All these years the sword of Sparta was at your fingers. What prevented you, even with the whole rebel, from doing this and strengthening yourself just in case? You yourself said that you just have not been pricing during the time. What are you afraid of? Dante looked at us like it was all our fault. And of course it was at that very moment that you flew and saved Nero, cliché.
Hey, he's all yours. But don't let it become a habit.
You lost to a reason twice and still managed to throw such phrases? Lie down and shut up, deadweight. This isn't the first time Dante have been given a demonic form, but for some reason in subsequent parts they were forgotten about, but this one will remain with him forever. However, I will not put a scene because I'm already tired of these insinuations and other things. This game is better perceived as anime.
Human blood is the source of demons' power. The fruit born through the Clivod is even more dense than the blood that created it. Its power is unparalleled. Even the almighty Mundus used it to become king of the underworld.
Mundus had to eat the fruit in order to gain strength and power, and he still lost to Dante. It's scary to imagine how strong Urizen will become if he eats it. For sure Dante will not have a chance. Oh.
My grandmother is Nell Goldstein, the gunsmith that made all your fancy weapons that you got strapped back there. Yeah, there she is!
There's more to sweet conversation between Nico and Dante than meet the eye. I recommended reading the novel, which is decided to even before the beginning of the fifth part, where they talk in detail about Goldstein and how Nico is connected to all of this. For a tribute to Michael Jackson, minus scene. Did you think I give a minus for such a bizarre demonstration of new weapon? That has, I'd rather put a scene if it wasn't there. Devil May Cry tradition might not be broken.
I've got all the power I need. Right here.
You don't understand. It's not what I mean.
Why can you tell Nero the real reason why he shouldn't go? Or did you, Dante, decide to take cue from Chris, who until the very last moment did not want to tell Ethan why they killed his wife?
I must go before he loses completely.
You hired Dante, Trish and Lady to kill his demon. Brought Nero here, that is, you gathered the strongest squad on the planet. And now you are worried that he will not finally killed? Well, virgin for sure.
Damn it. A little longer.
And yes, usually the words hold on a little longer do not mean that after you get up in a split second as if nothing had happened and run forgetting that a second ago you fell into small pieces. One disabled person is dragging another disabled person. They have a family.
Damn it, V. Don't push yourself. You need some rest.
And if you tell V to stop and rest, then why couldn't you do it either, for example when you just set off? He didn't took his best back then. We meet the main Cerberus with whom we have to fight, and I was pleasantly surprised by such a reference.
Come on, little puppy. I'll take you out for a walk. Come on, let's go. Come on, puppy. Let's go.
And those elemental nunchucks also deserve a manner scene, since it was a pleasure to fight with them.
He is Dante's older brother.
Dante's brother?
Nero makes it look like he's learning the first time that Dante has a brother. Only now he knew about this since the first part, when Dante decided to leave Yamato with him.
No, brother. You don't have everything. That last shred of humanity that you still had, you just lost it.
This fragment shows how much smarter Virgil than Dante. When Dante says that having eaten these fruits, he lost the last remnants of humanity. He did not take into account the fact that somewhere nearby, not just the remnants, but the full-fledged human essence is walking, ready to reunite with him.
V, get back. Things are about to get really messy.
And how do you need to hate your brother to say it? We don't come near, you'll get dirty. Implying that Virgil is some kind of garbage. There are also 2 points that hurt me. No, I wouldn't even say there. I will talk about 2 now and about the third a little later. When Urizen eats the fruit, Dante tries to stop him from running like this. And when V unites with Urizen, Dante again runs towards with normal run. We haven't forgotten the fact that in the gameplay we have almost instantaneous movement to the enemy during the attack, right? Does he suddenly forgets such moment that he is not an ordinary person. As a result, he enters the stage.
Virgil.
Virgil is the one you've been waiting for since an announcement of the first trailer. Fans have been making purported concept of his appearance based on the existing Dante, but they all been proven wrong. Claimed to be Virgil's twin brother, in reality he turned out to be completely unlike his brother in appearance, except perhaps for the hair. I have no complaints about the quality of his appearance, I have complaints about the developers who have not explained to us why the twins are not twins at all. Maybe you can already help Dante and not stand like there and Matt? This guy was born from the fusion of V and Reason. Obviously, he's definitely more dangerous than the previous two.
Defeating me like this has no meaning.
Come on, Virgil. Let's do this.
Heal your wounds, Dante. Get strong. After that, we'll settle the matter.
You say to heal Dante's wounds and then you will fight, but the next time Dante gets to you, you had to defeat 3 strong demons and hordes of a lower rank, while you were sitting on your twig stool. And it is fair to say that the weight of the Yamato katana and weight of Dante's sword is definitely different, but Virgil strikes with it as it his katana weighs like God's sword.
Thank you, Nero.
And here is the third point that I mentioned earlier. Virgil slowly and puffs open the portal, stops and thanks Nero, and Dante runs again, and that's it, he ran.
If that's your brother, what happened to V?
V right in front of you stuck a cane of reason and turned into Vitalik, and you ask such stupid questions.
You don't get it.
Let me guess. I'm dead weight? Well, you can
That's
show
not
me.
it, Nero.
What is it then?
He's your father!
Well, of course, as soon as the fuck came, Dante still decided to tell Nero why he should not go to the fight against him and that Virgil is his father. And why didn't Dante tell about it in the first part? Do you have so many relatives left?
What happened?
My dumbass brother's back and I'm gonna rip him a new one.
Virgil's... how?
Trish is surprised that Virgil has returned, but you were only one who knew who he really was. If you had told Dante about this from very beginning, then he probably would not have allowed his older brother to return.
We were spawned from Virgil's abominable thoughts. But you knew that already.
Come to think of it, I did know something was off.
The demon thinks too well of Dante, thinking that he has long guessed who they are. Did you smell a trick in them? It doesn't take a lot of intelligence to pick up on talking chicken, a cat and a goo. But no matter how I feel about V, those 3 turn out to be very colorful characters. It was not in vain that Dante respected them at the end.
Rest in peace, little chicken. Hey, Virgil! Your portal opening days are over. Give me the Yamato.
And here, in the moment that many have been waiting for, the main boss of the fight. I'll put a minus scene for the call dialogues between those two, but I'll remove it here because Dante even hinted that Virgil would just give him Yamato. I have no complaints about the boss fight except that I kill him 40 fucking times and kill him no just, but without any damage to myself. I became so filled with the timing that in the end I extended to the first dimension. And how can you put scene here when getting cons from Virgil you feel not irritation but pleasure? Another hair of Sparta forgot that he is not ordinary person who does need to fucking try to catch up with some car.
Nico, stop the car!
Behind them everything collapses and Nero asks Nico to stop the car.
Fine, I'll go by myself.
And I'm wondering where did he jump to? You had a hard time getting there and he took and jumped. How does this phone booth still work? Also, if you remember that Elon Musk lived in this city, there is nothing to be surprised at.
I'm not letting you die!
Since then, Devil May Cry 5 has been turned into anime. What do fans call such turns, piano? Yes, that's right, the developers look at the all parts, pulled themselves together and remember that Devil May Cry is not a Hollywood and serious about it. There are fashionable cons with the touch of pathos and epic.
I told you already, this is not your...
You listen, dead weight.
How to deal with childhood death weight drama? Psychologist? No. The usual blow to the face of the offender and mutual insult with the same words, and the injury as if removed by hand. Wedge, so to speak.
If I beat Nero, then by default, I beat you. Agreed, Dante.
Virgil doesn't take Nero seriously so much that being tried to fighting Dante. He thinks that defeating a kid counts to defeating Dante.
Fuck you!
This is how you activate the devil trigger.
Interesting.
Oh, what this? First you constantly lose to Dante, then you take the hand from your son, then you become even in power of your brother and still lose to your son, who even without a hand managed to awaken the power of kick your ass. There is still debate about whether Nero is strong as Dante and Virgil, I think not, but certainly not weak. Write in the comments what do you think.
I can still fight. I can still fight! We need to sever the Clifod roots from the underworld itself. Then we'll seal the portal with the Yamato.
Hang on. If you do that, you can't come back.
Why does Nero think they can't return? Dante has already returned from hell using Yamato fragments, and here they already have him wall.
Hey, wait!
And so Nero and Nico go home thinking that Dante and Virgil died closing the portal, but the member was floating there. What else do in hell when you have a lot of time? Of course, nailed each other faces were without it. However, why Virgil has not yet opened a new portal remains a mystery to us. Thanks to Capcom for the 5th part, and thanks for ending with a nice reference.
Don't you dare say it's jackpot!
What sins did you find in this game? Shall we commit sins in Force and other parts? You can write this in comments and I will be happy to answer you. Thanks for watching, please subscribe and like.